What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserve Radio. I'm your host, Rehn. With me, as always, are Angelo and Austin. Before we get into tonight's episode, which is just going to be the follow-up to last week's episode, we did the Eastern Conference last week. We're going to do the Western Conference this week. But before we get into it, I just wanted to kind of talk about... I didn't realize this. When the episode comes out, it won't be significant. But today, as we're recording, is actually the 2-year anniversary of Kobe's death. It's doesn't feel like it's been that long, really. It feels like it's been maybe a year, if that.
Yeah, I mean, the death of Kobe was very devastating to me. I remember where I still was when it happened.
Yeah, I think it's one of those traumatic events that I don't think we should like deify celebrities or athletes or anything like that. And I don't think like the death of an athlete or a celebrity is more important than the death of your average Joe. But when it's someone that a lot of people relate to or a lot of people connect with, and then it's sudden, because it wasn't like, oh, Kobe's sick and then he passed away. It was, for me, I was driving home from work and my mom called me and told me Kobe died. Like, it's, I don't know. I think everyone remembers where they were when they found out. But as much as I want to remember Kobe, that's a depressing way to start the episode. So try to get it back on track here. Like I said, we're just going to be following up the episode from last week. We were going to do this earlier in the week to kind of have them closer together, but we're still figuring things out. Also, this all audio quality in this episode and in future episodes should be better now, and then it should be getting better in the coming weeks. We're making some changes to audio software and hardware, so hopefully that will help a lot with the quality. I am not sure. Our tests are so far coming back a lot better. So the question of the day, before we get into anything else, if you could only watch one TV show or series for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ah, I got an easy one.
What's that?
One Piece.
Oh, God.
There's so much content there, I'd never get tired of it.
That's my question. Why would you want a series that's still ongoing and you don't know the conclusion of?
See, I agree with
It doesn't
Austin,
say that
though.
it has to be the end.
I agree with Austin here, though, because for me, it wouldn't be One Piece because I can't watch anime, but it would be one of those shows, even if I'm not a huge fan of it, a show that has a lot of seasons, episodes,
Simpsons.
whatever. The Simpsons I could probably do, or South Park or something, but I was thinking something that has divergent storylines
The
so that
Office.
so like Supernatural or The Walking Dead or Doctor Who, like something that's going to constantly shake itself up even on rewatches. Angelo, what would yours be?
For mine, I have to go back to my youth where I watched a lot of USA shows, and I'd have to go with either Burn Notice, Suits, or Psych. One of those three.
Yeah,
Easy.
USA, like there was a few years there where USA was just churning out some great content.
I know.
The other one, the White Collar, that was the other one. There was also
I loved White Collar. Oh my god, how did I forget
there
that?
was also the one about the two brothers, and one of them was an actor from American Pie, and he's a doctor who loses his license or something and moves to the Hamptons. Royal Pains.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some really good just content for a couple of years there.
I think the ending of White Collar was my favorite of all the endings.
I actually never finished it. I'm gonna have to go check Hulu. I'm gonna have to go watch it on Hulu. But getting back to basketball, I think that's what we're all here for. There were two major news points in the NBA this week, and I think we're gonna have a lot more news coming out in the next 2 weeks leading up to the February 9th trade deadline. The first one is Rui Hachimura being traded to the Lakers. Now, that trade is important because I think that on the other side, so in juxtaposition, we have the Toronto Raptors being offered by a mystery team. We are pretty sure it was the New York Knicks. They were offered 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. That trade was declined. Rui Hachimura, obviously not necessarily as good as OG Anunoby, and no one's saying that. Kendrick Nunn in a second. So the value is kind of all over the place, and I'm interested to see over the next 2 weeks as more trades and more rumors come out what the average offer is going to be. I do believe we as fans overrate first round picks because outside of the top 5, you're shooting for a role player there, right? You want a player that's, if you got a player that's as good as OG Anunoby, you're happy. That's what you want. You want a quality NBA player. If you don't have a pick in the top 5, you shouldn't be hoarding your pick. If you can get someone that can actually contribute now and isn't going to be a flight risk in a season or two, or be at the end of their career, unless you're trying to offload cap. So what do you guys think about those 2 trades, or the trade and the trade offer? Do you think one of them is more telling of the market than the other, or do you think that both were correct? Or incorrect, I guess.
So I think the Lakers with this move, because I was looking at that and I was thinking, okay, now are they going to try to get Cam Reddish? They are done making moves.
I don't think they're done making moves.
I think they're done making
Homie,
moves.
did you not see LeBron?
I saw LeBron.
You don't think after that game he did not walk into Rob or Jeannie's office and tell them you're doing something?
When I was reading reports of saying the choice was between Rory or Cam Reddish, I watch. They are done making moves.
I'm just telling you.
They are done making
LeBron
moves.
is LeBron.
They are done making moves. They're not trading first. What move are they going to make? But regardless, I think I'm just going to call it Knicks Raptors situation with OG. I think that is a great mismanagement of assets on both teams' fronts.
I disagree.
You can disagree.
Like I said, you have a player who's in the top percentile of defense for every position, right?
Yeah.
You have a boat and you're offered a mystery box, and that mystery box could be a boat. So you trade for the mystery. Like, that doesn't make sense. Just take the boat. Like, we are overvaluing first-round picks that we don't even know the range of. Now, if you are fully in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, you don't trade your first. You absolutely don't. Because you're hoping for the risk to win the lottery. But if you're picking in that 15-20 range, why not? Why are you wanting a potential TJ Leaf? Like, yes, you could get Kawhi. That's like a 9% chance that you're going to even get a quality player at anything past 10.
So we're saying it's the Knicks. How confident are you saying that the Knicks are going to be 15 and 20 within the next 3 years, all 3 years?
So I painted myself into a corner there, and that's on me. I don't think the Knicks, if they're in the 14th spot or the 13th spot, the 11th spot, the 12th spot, the 10th spot, I just really screwed up numbers. They're not winning the lottery. Like, it's just not gonna happen because the odds are so far against them. Like, if you can get a quality NBA player today, you take it.
But the idea that the Knicks are going to be guaranteed to be a playoff team 2 years from now, 3, I don't buy it, man. They need to sign more people because they're not drafting them.
No, if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm absolutely not throwing 3 first-round picks for anyone. But I don't know. Like I said, I think we as fans, myself included, overrate first-round picks.
So
especially during the season. During the draft, when you have an actual draft order in front of you, absolutely you can attach like an individual value to each pick. But when it's
in Dynasty football, we have this thing called purgatory. And what purgatory is you don't have a top or access to a top 3 pick, but you also don't have a roster that's competing. OG Anunoby doesn't get the New York Knicks out of purgatory. He doesn't. Tell me he does. Huh?
I think he helps get them out. I do.
I don't.
Defense wins championships, Angelo. Like, I'm not saying the Knicks are an OG Anunoby away from a championship. I'm just saying defense wins championships. Like, you want good defenders. You want elite defenders. OG Anunoby's an elite defender. Here's my question, okay? So, this is a vacuum. So, let's say you have a first-round pick. You don't know where you're picking. You're, like, right in the middle of the pack, right?
Sure.
So, a team offers you Malcolm Brogdon for that first. Do you take it?
Depends where the organization is.
But that doesn't matter. The point is,
yes,
financially, yes. But at the end of the day, this is a business, right?
Yep.
Wins fill the seats. You make the team better. You don't hold out for a player that's potentially going to be as good as Malcolm Brogdon. Maybe that player's better. Maybe that player's worse. But you know what you're getting. And if that player is a first round, like, not star, but a fringe star caliber player or just a starter caliber player, you can't pass that up unless you know for a fact you're going to be in that top 5 or have a greater than not chance at it. But I don't know. I just think the value this year is kind of all over the place, and hopefully it kind of levels off over the next 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and head into the topic of the video. Last week, we graded the Eastern Conference on the first half of the season. We did it kind of crazy because we didn't really communicate how we wanted these grades quantified. So we each have a different rubric we used for how we're grading these teams. So Austin's grades are entirely based on how that team is set up for the future. Angelo's grading system is based on how they're performing relative to where he thinks they're going to perform. His average is C. So if you're performing exactly like he thinks you should be performing, you get a C. Mine is more extreme than that. If you're performing how I expect you to perform, you're getting an A. That means if you are a team that should be in the tanking for Victor sweepstakes and you have understood that assignment and you are single-digit wins halfway through the season, you're getting an A+. You understood what you were supposed to do. You did a good job at it. And I apologize, I'm losing my voice tonight, apparently. This has been a long night, let's just say that.
Yeah, it's been a very long night.
So, without further interruptions, hopefully, let's get into it. So we're going to start. We're just going down the standings as of today.
Like we did last week.
So the Denver Nuggets. Start, Angelo.
Denver Nuggets, I gave them a C. This is where I expected them to be. Nikola Jokic won MVP last year, when he didn't have Jamal Murray and he didn't have Michael Porter Jr. healthy. Now he has those pieces healthy. Yes, they are a top offense in the league. They are amazing. The only concern I have for them is their defense. I don't think their defense holds up in the playoffs, and I think making a run, that's going to start becoming more and more problematic as they get harder and harder matchups.
I can go ahead. No, go ahead. I thought you were done.
This season, where they are, I expected them to be one of the top seeds. They're there. The team's performing good. See, go.
So I agree with you. Their defense is the biggest question mark for them. They actually are a bottom 10 defense. Can a bottom 10 be a legitimate contender?
When's the last
I
time
think
we've seen
so.
it?
I think so. And the reason I think so is Nikola Jokic is impossible to game plan against. He's just too good. Barring voter fatigue, he's the MVP this season. He's played that good. I think we agree it's probably going to be Luka. I think it should be Jokic. I think Jokic has earned it. I just think voter fatigue is going to get in the way. One thing about the Nuggets is they are actually the most efficient shooting team in the league from the entire floor. That has a lot to do with Jokic. Jokic is a 7-foot cannon that can get the ball to anyone on any place of the floor, and he can be asleep at center court and just dime the pass straight to a corner three. I would be so with them being a bottom 10 defensive team, I'm not going to be surprised if they get bumped in the second round, but I'm also not going to be surprised if this team goes all the way. I gave them an A. They're performing pretty much exactly what I thought they would be. I just don't want to give them the A+ because of that defense. That is a big question mark. But still probably my favorite overall team this season.
Interesting. So, you're good, Ren?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I give them a. I had it written down, and I keep going back and forth. I think I'm giving them a B. Jamal Murray's a question mark to me. He seems to have really fallen off. I don't know if that's just him still trying to recover from that injury a few years ago, or he's just, I guess, cooled off. He just had a hot little streak. Their pick situation's not the best. It's not the worst. It seems they have a lot of their picks promised in case. Like if it's 1 through 14, it's theirs. If it's 15 through 30, it's Charlotte. So
It's probably
I gave him a B. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Charlotte. So it's kind of hard for me to judge them.
All right, so they do have a lot of young pieces though, because like Michael Porter Jr., I think he's only 24. Jamal Murray's young.
25 now.
25.
No, 24. Jamal Murray's 25.
So they're still relatively young, and they have a pretty huge window here, and I don't know. I'm excited for the Denver Nuggets for the next few seasons, honestly.
I think they have a window, but I'm also scared of that cap situation.
They should
They have
have
their entire cap tied up in Jamal, Jokic, and Porter.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen big threes stay together and then
But that's the thing is with those three, you can just build role players around them.
defense.
You know who would be perfect there?
OG
Anunoby.
Yeah.
He really would. Yeah. Aaron Gordon has a hefty contract too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, he does.
So moving down to the Grizzlies next. Angelo, talk me through the Grizzlies.
This is probably my favorite team. They were the 2 seed last year, and this year they're also the 2 seed. I think they have I think they have made improvements as far as progression goes. Desmond Bane has taken another step so far this season, and he provides defense. Ja is Ja. Jaren Jackson Jr. is amazing. Their depth players have been playing very, very well as well, and that's not talked about nearly enough. I give them a C. This is how they should be performing, and I actually like their odds to make a run more than the Nuggets. Like if I was betting on someone to make the deeper run, I think Grizzlies go deeper than Nuggets.
I could see it. So my thing with the Grizzlies is actually going to be my same thing with the next team on our list, which is they're just so young. I think in the next couple years, maybe even next year, we'll see more depth runs from these teams, but you learn a lot from losing. This team is built amazingly right now. So you've got Ja, who is
year.
Hmm?
They lost last year.
I know, but it still feels too early for them. I don't think they have. I don't want to say they don't have veteran presence because they do, but I just feel like this team has a little bit of maturing to do before they're able to make a ton of noise in the playoffs. And I would love to be wrong and proven wrong and be told I'm an idiot for it. But for now, regular season first half, you have Ja, who is an MVP candidate. If you were to ask me my ballot today, it would go Jokic, Luka, Ja. And then on the other side of it, they've got Jaren Jackson, who legitimately is probably my defensive player of the year right now. Desmond Bane, amazing. The concern I have for them is in the playoffs, it's going to be a lot.
Josho.
Josho?
The Josho.
The Josho. Right. My concern is if Jaren gets into foul trouble. So when Jaren is on the floor, he's fourth in the league in defended field goal percentage, which is like 40%. The Grizzlies as a team allow 8 points less when he's on the court compared to when he's off,
Correct.
which is like 98th percentile.
Yep. It's amazing.
My concern is those times that he's off, or if he gets in foul trouble, or if the game starts getting called ticky-tack like we know it does in the playoffs sometimes.
It does, 100%.
Like I said, I think the Grizzlies have a little bit of maturing. I still, for the first half of the season, they get an A, and it's just on the edge of an A+.
I agree with that.
My grade is an A+.
Right, that's, yeah.
I love this team. I'm a big Desmond Bane fan. He's doing amazing.
MVP.
Yep, future MVP, Lord and Savior, all of that. I mean, Ja, Bane, Jaren, they have their picks. Zaire hopefully will eventually take a step forward. Man, Jaren, Ja, and Desmond Bane are all 23, 23, and 24.
Yeah,
it's.
Oh my gosh.
It's a roster.
I think they earn an S after looking at that.
Yeah,
I thought Jaren was older for some reason.
I was waiting for you to look at their actual current ages because I knew they were going to get an S from you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's these first few teams. I don't think there's going to be a ton to say about. I think we all have a pretty similar ideal of what these teams are. So next on our list, we're moving down to the Sacramento Kings. Go ahead, Angelo.
So, I know you've been the biggest King proponent in the last few years, and I've tried to put water on that fire as much as possible.
Go ahead.
I cannot deny how good they've been, at least so far this point of the season. I did not expect them to be a top 3 seed in the West. I expected them to be closer to where the Thunder or Spurs are now than where they are actually right now. I have to give them the A, as much as it pains my soul.
Yeah, I've been on the Kings bandwagon for at least a year and a half, probably closer to 2 years. I've always been a fan of De'Aaron Fox, but ever since, I don't even know when it was like a switch flipped and this team just started running, and the pace has been insane. They haven't made the playoffs in just under 20 years. I think it's 2005 was the last time they were in there.
Yep.
I don't think they're a contender in any stretch of the imagination, and that's not what I'm on the bandwagon for. I'm on the bandwagon to end the drought. And barring something happening, I don't see them missing out on the playoffs this year, and I'm excited to see some Kings playoff basketball. I think the biggest surprise for me has been how Kevin Huerter has fit into the system. I liked him in Atlanta, but it seems like him and Sabonis have really evolved into this pick and roll game, and it's working really well. So it's not just the De'Aaron Fox show like it had been. And I think the clutch player award is this year, and De'Aaron should be in the running for that. Having Sabonis, who is Jokic light on the floor, yes, they're bottom 5 in defense. I get that, but it's just they're playing offense by outrunning they're playing defense by outrunning their opponents on offense and just daring them to try to score more than them. So I'm excited for this team. They're honestly my favorite team to watch of the last few years.
I'm surprised you didn't have the guy you coined as Mr. Clutch as your clutch player of the year.
Okay, for the record, I never coined him as Mr. Clutch. That was you saying I coined him as Mr. Clutch. I was just pointing out his clutch metrics, which I can point out De'Aaron's, which are comparable or even better.
Okay.
But yeah, so I give him an A+. I don't know like where I necessarily expected them to be, but it's definitely not the 3 seed.
No, definitely wasn't for me.
To the Pelicans. Angelo, take it away.
The Pelicans were a tricky team as far as expectations go because
Right.
I think that I kind of expected Zion to miss large swaths of time because
Same.
of his size, weight. I don't think his body can take the regular, intensity and contact of an NBA schedule, even though, he's a contact player himself. So I expected this team to mostly function without Zion. And I think they've played to what I would expect them. They're the 4th seed, they're 26 and 23. They're not playing good as of recently. They're actually on a massive 6-game losing streak.
Right,
But they have performed the way I would expect. Good.
So for me, I expected them to be a lot not better, I guess, because they are the 4 seed.
Did you expect Zion to play the whole year?
So if you'll remember, before the season started, we were having conversations about like our predictions. This was before the podcast started, for sure.
Zion is MVP, and I did not.
I predicted Zion as MVP and scoring leader. So obviously, I was expecting them to do really well. Did I expect Zion to play the whole season? No. Did I expect Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Herb Jones to all be missing significant time? No.
And they're
Zion,
not doing 6-game losing streak, but they're not doing too bad in the absences.
right,
They're not catastrophic.
You're missing your 3 top scorers,
Yeah.
or 2 of your top 3 scorers, and then I think Herb Jones is under CJ. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but I feel like I've seen Herb score a lot. Yes. But I don't know. I'm going to give him a B just because my expectations going into the season were a 1-2 seed. And I don't know why. I think I'm really high on Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones, and I was really high on Zion because we saw like those early videos. It was like, oh, Zion's down to a playing weight and he's going to stay healthy this season. It's not a thing. CJ has held the fort down, though. CJ has held the fort down, but they're currently like bottom 10 in both offense and defense, which is super shocking to me that they're so high in the standings right now, but it really does show how tight the West is. But that's going to happen when you're missing 3 of your top 4 players. So
Austin's back, right?
I think so. I heard
Yeah.
him.
Sorry.
All right. So the Pelicans are who we're talking about.
Pelicans. Okay. So I'll just go real quick. Yeah, I like this team. Like you said, Zion. Trey Murphy is doing pretty well, like we said. Jackson Hayes, I'm hoping keeps going. He needs to get better. Thought he was doing better than what he was this year. Interesting. Yeah, he fell off. I didn't realize that. Dyson Daniels, I hope he comes out and does good. He's not doing great right now, but that's fine. So I give them a B.
That's a fair ranking.
Yeah, I think it is.
Some of their earlier picks are up in limbo right now, so.
Well, now we're getting
Lakers picks though.
Yeah, they have that Lakers pick.
No, they have multiple Lakers picks.
Yeah, but they have that Lakers pick. Look, my NBA conspiracy theory hat is on, and they're going to get either Victor or Scoot. It's just going to happen. Scoot would fit perfectly, at least from what I've seen of him. Now going to so we're going to get into a couple teams that are going to be interesting to hear Austin's grade on because they're older. So the Clippers. Go on, Angelo.
So we once again are back to expectations.
Mhm.
I believe the Clippers are a team, and I've said this multiple times in the previous podcast. They are a team meant to operate without Kawhi Leonard playing significant amount of games. They are not a team you bet they're going to be the top seed in the West going into the season. 5-6 is honestly where they want to be. They want to set themselves up for a decent playoff run and hope Kawhi is healthy and make a good run. So it's a C. This is where I expected them to be. They're actually exactly where I expected them to be, and there's not much to say. I think that the way that they've won 3, but the way they were playing recently, before they dominated the Lakers, I think I was starting to get concerned, but no, they're good. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
We have completely different opinions here. So I'm giving them a D.
A D.
So the reason being is there's a few fun stats here. So first off, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Are they the stars of that team?
They are.
What do you think the most consecutive games this season they've played together is?
0.
It is 3.
1.
It is 3.
Okay.
They have played 3 games in a row together.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay. That sounds about right.
That's and you can see it. So they are scoring horribly around the rim. They're relying on jumpers. They're turning the ball over crazy. Their pace per 100 possessions is like the only teams worse than them are the Rockets and the Spurs. Yes, if you're looking at the standings, sure, great. They're right where I expected them to be. But the eye test, the product that's being put out on the floor, it's a D. It's not fun to watch. I don't like. I haven't looked at their strength of schedule. That's one thing I didn't
ever
pull up.
really assembled to be fun to watch, though?
I would hope if you have 2 of the best players in the NBA that you're fun to watch.
Lob City was fun to watch.
Lob City was fun to watch. Lob City was super fun to watch. What are you talking about, Angelo? So yeah,
Outside of that, no.
I just the result, sure, I would give them probably a B on the result for where they're at. But I'm breaking my rules here. It's just not fun basketball. It's not something like if I see this show up in the League Pass list, I'm passing. Unless they're playing like the Celtics or the Mavs or like one of those teams that I want to watch, I have no interest in watching a Clippers game because I turn it on and there's like a 70% chance that one of Kawhi or PG aren't playing.
Probably higher than that, but yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm giving them a D.
Okay.
I am also giving them a D.
Yeah.
I want to say something. It's called Blow It Up.
Wow.
I think they just move on.
Wow.
They're so old.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not a team that I think is going to be competing.
No, like Kawhi, Rocco, Paul George, John Wall, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Batum. Like this team, like 7 years ago, is easy.
Oh my God.
Easy.
Oh God,
Multi-run.
that would have been
7 years ago.
Can you imagine John Wall throwing lobs to PG? They would be dancing on the floor. Oh, that would have been yeah. We need to set that up in 2K. Like, do like a time trial. I'm down for that. Okay, so now a really fun one, I think. Dallas Mavericks.
Oh yeah.
Hey Angelo, you've been starting all of these, so I thought you just knew that you needed to start that one.
I did.
No, I got this one.
I'm so conflicted. Okay.
I got this.
Okay.
Go ahead, Austin. Take it away.
S plus 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 plus.
Uh-huh.
Now, is that ranking entirely just on Luka?
The S. How many pluses did I say?
You said
Take
4.
1 plus away, and all that is for Luka.
Yeah. Like the future of this team is good as long as Luka's there. Like that's just
Christian Wood.
Christian Wood is not a part of
He's
the future.
27. I know.
Look, you could put the 4 or the 3 of us on a court with Luka, and we're making the playoffs. Luka is that good.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
So
Luka's insane.
all right. You ready?
Yep.
It's a D.
Uh-huh.
It's a D.
This is why I thought it was going to be fun.
This is a D. And the statement you just said is really, really telling, and why I'm sure it's a D.
Yep.
I think Austin needs a refresher on your.
You could put us out there and with Luka, and the Mavs would be a playoff contention team. They are the 6th seed. They are quite literally a game away from being in the play-in tournament.
Yep.
What's around him?
So this is a rare instance. I'm agreeing with Angelo. They get a D. I had higher. So Austin said he needed a refresher for what our rankings were. So Angelo's average is C. So if you perform at expectation, it's a C. If you perform above expectation, it goes up. Below expectation, it goes down. Mine is based on where I think you should be, or I thought you would be. So if I thought you were going to be a 1 seed or a top 3 seed and you're in the bottom, just about to miss the playoffs, or be in the play-in, I guess, you're getting a lower grade. If you are, if you're supposed to be tanking like the Pacers should have been, and you're in the playoffs, you're getting a D because you are more than one piece away from contending, and you should have just been going for it. Like Silver's not going to put you in the G League. He's not going to do anything. Like there is no stopping tanking. I get that.
Yeah.
So that's our ranking system. So I give them a D because I expect them to be higher because I think Luka is that good. I think Luka can drag a shambling corpse across the finish line.
Which team is better? The team LeBron carried to the finals or this Mavericks team?
It's difficult. So I'm going to say this team. And the reason being is the Eastern Conference was really weak when LeBron drug a team to the finals. And I think the Western Conference is as close as it possibly could be. I think the parity in the Western Conference is insane right now. I don't think that is necessarily a thing in the East. I think if Luka was in the East at that time, he would have no problem dragging a team to the finals. And I don't necessarily think this team is built for a legitimate playoff run.
No.
They need to improve. Like, we have 2 weeks. They've got to do something to get Luka some help.
Yeah, no, 100%. You said previously you think Luka is happy and he seems happy. I don't know how.
I think
I
it's
don't know how.
so they say Heat culture a lot in relations to the Heat as a team. I think the Mavericks as an organization are a very player-first organization.
100%.
And I
Yeah.
think that they do well by their players. And I think there's a lot of player representation within their ranks from ownership down. Dirk Nowitzki, huge champion of Luka, always right there, always like that means something. And I think Luka knows how appreciated he is by that organization. And I think he knows they're not doing anything on purpose. I think he knows they're doing everything they can to get him help. So I think that he's content for now. Will that change in a few years? Maybe. But he knows they're trying to get help. He knows they are. So this ordering has completely screwed me up because we switched it up. Phoenix Suns, Angelo, take it away.
It's also a D.
It's a D.
It's a D.
Explain.
The Suns were in the championship game just 2 years ago. They have, for the most part, kept their core intact. Yes, DeAndre Ayton isn't happy. They still have generally the core that got them there. This team should be one of these top 5 seeds, and they're not. Devin Booker has played great. I can't say much else about.
So,
Go ahead.
So I'm giving them a C. So there's an interesting. It's not. I don't think it's the starters. I don't think Chris Paul is that guy anymore. I don't think he's been for a couple years. But the team as a whole has lost a step defensively. So last year, when Devin Booker wasn't on the floor, the Suns were still outscoring opponents. Like their second unit was actually scoring. This season, when he's off the floor, they're being outscored by double what they were scoring against the opponents last year. So they were outscoring them. I think it was 6 points against the opponents, and this year it's 6 points for the opponents. So overall, the team's defensive efficiency is just taking a nosedive. They're not shooting well.
I'm just
Obviously,
looking at this jarring statistic that's in front of me. The Suns are 18-7 at home, and they're 7-17 away.
Yikes! That is kind of alarming.
That's very jarring.
I think they could pull it together, but I expected them to be a little higher, so I'm giving them a C. I don't think they're that far off where I expect them to be. And again, it's being unfair because the Western Conference
It's tough.
It's so tight right now.
Oh.
So, one game and they're right where I expect them to be.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you
So
that. That is true.
It's difficult this year. Austin, futures.
So I'm gonna give them an A, but
Wow.
I need to preface that of it's an A including a DeAndre Ayton trade.
Including?
If they trade DeAndre Ayton, it'll be an A because they're gonna get a lot of assets back.
That's fair.
If we're saying in a vacuum where Ayton stays, I'm giving them a B. So
that's fair.
I just love that they have all their picks. Booker is insane this year.
Yeah.
Like every year so far.
I said in a previous pod, he has picked up almost like stat for stat what Chris Paul has regressed from the previous year.
Mm-hmm. Mikal Bridges is taking another step forward.
Yeah, and
that's definitely helping.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So next is potentially another fun one. The Golden State Warriors.
They're also really jarring away from home. They're actually worse than the Suns out of Golden State.
Yikes.
Oh man, it's really hard for me to. I can't call it a C because I don't think I expected them to be like the 8th seed. Oh, it has to be a D.
I don't
think they're far from being a top 4 seed, but at the same time, go ahead.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, like, they just won the championship less than a year ago.
Yep.
And you think that a D is a good grade? The only reason I think that would be a fair grade is if you're factoring in the fact that Steph Curry was injured.
Played. Yeah, he hasn't played.
But I still, like, I have higher expectations for this team. Because it is a well-coached team and it's a well-built team besides just Steph Curry. Obviously, missing Steph Curry is a big hit, but they're one loss away from being out of the playoffs. It's a D minus. Like, it might even be an F because I expect them to be a top 3 seed with or without
another
Steph.
Team for me. They would be an F if it isn't for another team for me.
Oh yeah, you only are doing one of each. But yeah, there's a legitimate possibility this season we will not see LeBron James or Steph Curry in the playoffs. Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an F.
End of an era.
Now, I think once Steph is back and up to speed, like, he's obviously going to get this team back on track, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's disappointing, so I have to give him a low grade just based on my metrics. Go ahead, Austin.
I think it's time to move on from Clay and Dre.
Absolutely.
I thought that for a while.
It's just happening. It's just going to be happening after this season.
Yeah, like if it doesn't, this team deserves an F, and Steph should honestly leave. I know he won't. He's going to be a lifer, but
yeah. And the only other option would be if he goes to Charlotte to finish his career. But
I'm about to say I don't think he's going to be a lifer.
Kuminga's been a disappointment. James Wiseman's been disappointing, very disappointing. I think they just need to start looking at potentially rebuild in the next few years.
So, I think we've come to Angelo's F.
I wanted to do it so bad.
Well, they are an F for me. So it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Angelo, I am absolutely shocked that you did not give them an F.
I wanted to do it so bad. There's one team I can't. I can't. I gave him a D. I can't. After you traded 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert, you would expect that the Timberwolves would have improved their record. Tell me, what were the Timberwolves seeding last year again? 7?
You're making me.
They're at 7. They were at 7.
I should have.
They were at 7.
They were at 7. You're right.
They were at 7. They're at 9 right now.
You're at 9.
Now, granted, the difference between 9 and 7 is half a game.
Right.
Granted, I'll give you that. But I expected improvement. It's a D. It's a D.
It's an F.
Gobert ain't as impactful as you think he is, man.
No, it's an F. It's absolutely an F. It is 100% an F. It is. What is an S is above an A? What is below an F?
Yeah, exactly. What is?
Z. We'll just give them a Z. They're a Z. They are. When you are trading that many assets for a player, you better be making a championship run. And yes, the way the Jazz were set up, the way the Jazz were coached, is built for success. It just there's something in the water in Utah, as we can see with how successful this Jazz team has been, even though they have fallen off a little bit. We can see how good they were. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns are the only things I really like about this team. And I don't necessarily, I'm not the biggest fan of Anthony Edwards or Karl Anthony Towns.
I thought you were going to say they're the only offense on the team.
I mean that too.
What about D'Lo?
D'Lo is D'Lo. He's always going to be D'Lo. But I still go back to early in the season, one of the first games of the Timberwolves I watched, and someone being wide open on the corner. And Rudy seeing that, Rudy not guarding anyone at this particular moment, and pointing out to him, but not moving. Get a hand in that guy's face. Like, play defense. I think
the cornet contest.
Like, just do something, because all I'm reminded of is playing 2K with defensive centers where they just clog the paint all game. Like, guard your man or guard someone. Just, if you're leaving someone wide open and you know they're open and you're not reacting to it, I'll never, I don't want to say forgive him because that's over dramatic. I'll never like look at him the same way after seeing that particular play and then noticing that he does that a lot. Yes, it's important when you have someone that's that elite as an interior defender. He's not a great perimeter defender. We know that. But a hand is a hand. And if you're not going to get it in that guy's face, he's just going to drain it. It's an NBA player. Most of them are going to hit wide open threes.
Yep.
Obviously, seeing Donovan blow up in the Cavs and Gobert kind of shrink, it really kind of highlights
how much Donovan was carrying that.
Yeah, I don't want to say carrying. I don't want to say carrying, but I think that when you have an offensive force like Donovan and you have a defensive force like Gobert, it works really well together. But Donovan's skill set is going to be more relevant on a team, even if that team doesn't have an elite defender, which granted the Cavs do. They have two of them.
Yeah.
Maybe three. But without having an elite offensive talent, which the Timberwolves don't, you definitely see some deficiencies from Rudy. But yeah, they're a Z because I expect them to be better when they're making that big of a trade. But Austin, go ahead.
See, with their creation of the Z, I want to give them a Z, but they get an F for the sole fact of Anthony Edwards.
Z, okay, I'm about to say.
Yeah, it's. I'm
Anthony Edwards is their saving grace for great.
Oh, I know who Angelo's F is. Oh, that's gonna pain him to say. So next is the Utah Jazz, which go ahead and get your S out of the way, Austin.
My S? What do you mean, my S?
That war chest.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's great. They're definitely an S for me.
They're a fun team to play as in 2K if you're doing like a franchise mode because you have so many picks to trade.
Them and the Thunder, because the Thunder you can throw SGA around too.
Oh God,
that's easy. Go ahead, Angelo. Tell us your grade.
I expected them to be a bottom feeder, and they did have that stretch of time where they were quite literally the number one seed. Obviously, they've cooled down.
I mean, they're 5-5 over their last 10. That's still like admirable.
Yeah, they're still a play-in tournament team. If I'm not mistaken.
And I mean, they should be, barring like the Blazers. Obviously, we'll get to the Blazers, but I think the Blazers could go higher. The Cinderella run is still alive. It is still alive.
I'm telling you, the scenario that I said wasn't going to happen might happen, where the Jazz kick out the Lakers.
Oh,
I would love it.
It might happen.
So for me,
I might buy you a Markkanen jersey after that.
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong for it. He's really emerged. Okay, so just based on my metric, they're an A+. I expected them to be that 10-win team at this point in the season. Larry emerged as apparently a borderline star player. Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt have been very surprising.
Yes.
There's not
I like
much
Walker.
to say about the team.
There are some people who saying he is performing better than Gobert. And while I don't think that's quite the case, it's
close.
a lot.
It's
a lot. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot closer than it should have been, and they gave up 5 first-round picks on top of it.
Right now, you ask me who, like, if I'm picking a starter that I want on my team, right, it would be Walker Kessler over Gobert.
He's on my 2K team.
So go ahead, Austin, because this one, or wait, you already did it. You got it out of the way early because it was obvious.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's a short one, and it's the same with this. So the Thunder are next. That's an S+ for Austin, I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Especially with Giddy and all them too.
Yeah, Giddy.
Yeah.
Watching, so Summer League, Giddy did not look good. Like, he was scoring a lot in that first game, but he just didn't look like he was an NBA player. And then suddenly he evolved. Like, he leveled up, his hair grew a little bit, and he was no longer just a playmaker. Like, suddenly he could shoot. Like, it just kind of happened.
He's rebounding too. He's averaging 8 rebounds.
But this is, so based on what they should be, they are building for the future. They're right in sweepstakes for the first overall. They've got a giant war chest. It's an A. They're right where I expect them to be. Obviously, I would honestly expect them to be a little lower. I think the Blazers and Lakers underperform. But yeah, it's an A. They're doing exactly what I expected them to do and exactly what I would do if I were in their shoes. Like, you've got SGA, who's a star. You've got Josh Giddey, who's emerging as a great running mate, and you've got draft capital. It's an A. Angelo?
Robinson Earl.
If you would have told me before the season that SGA was going to average over 30, I would have given them a D. But the expectations I had going in, they are performing where I expected them. I just did not expect Josh Giddey and SGA to be this good, and them to still somehow find a way to keep losing.
Oh no, they are.
They're in the hunt. They're in the hunt. I'll give them. They're in the hunt.
They are giving a.
They're 7-3 in their last 10 too.
Yeah,
they put themselves in the hunt.
They are giving a PowerPoint on how to tank correctly. It's fun. It's not obvious, and it's working. Moving down the list, Trailblazers. This is an interesting team because I think the only reason they're so low is Dame missed so much time. Anthony Simons has been amazing. Nope. I don't want to say amazing. He's been great. I want to save the amazing tag for amazing players. What? You disagree?
No, go on. I'm thinking of amazing in the other direction.
Amazing in the other direction?
Amazingly bad.
Amazingly bad. Obviously,
not Anthony Simons. That's not who I'm thinking about.
Okay.
That's not what I'm thinking.
I was about to revoke your talking privileges for a while. Bringing in all the pieces they brought in, because they brought in a lot this season. Obviously, like Gary Payton, Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart. It's a great built team. I think Dame being healthy is going to get them back in that race. And like I said, Anthony Simons has been great. So it's a C- for me, but I fully expect them to jump up to probably a B. I think they'll be right where I expect them to be, which is a 6-7 seed. Chance of being an upset in the playoffs. But Angelo?
It's between a C or a D. I think it's a D just because no. They have lost Dame. It is a C. I think if Dame was there, this would be a D, and I would say they have failed Dame in a spectacular way that they've consistently done. But it's a C with the knowledge that Dame has missed most of the season.
Austin?
It's solid. I'm giving them a B. I like Jeremiah Grant. Shaden Sharp, I have high hopes for, honestly. Their pick chest's actually pretty decent. Where'd it go? Just left. So, it looks like they're only on the hook for a Chicago pick if they end up in 15 to 30. So, I like it. I have to give them a B, maybe a B+.
Okay. So now, drum roll. It is now time for Angelo's F.
Yeah, the F.
Go on. Give Bronny an F. Give LeBron an F. Let me hear it.
It's not LeBron.
Make sure this is recording.
It's not LeBron. It's the everything else. Did you see the look? The man looked like he lived a life of quiet desperation.
No. After that game, he went to Rob or Jeannie's office, and like something is going to happen. It just has to.
He got to watch a legendary fight between Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder.
It was legendary. Like you can watch him like. There's a subreddit called "Watch People Die Inside."
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen it pop up on there, but I think I might go post it actually.
You need to. That's getting an award. And it deserves a.
I honestly thought when I first was watching it, because I didn't catch that game. I thought it was a loop. I thought it was just playing repetitively, and then like you start noticing like different people walking in front of LeBron or behind him, and like he's like rolling his eyes differently. Like it was a solid minute and a half of him just staring. So yeah, so I'm giving them an A+.
Oh my god!
So they're getting an A+. Do you want to know why?
LeBron hate knows no bounds.
No. I'm giving them an A+ because they're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, which is exactly where I expect a team to be that still employs Russell Westbrook.
They don't have their pick. How can you give them an A+ for being in the Victor sweepstakes when they don't own their own pick?
Did you not hear what I said?
No.
My rating.
Too busy.
My rating is based entirely on where I think you are going to be. I think Russell Westbrook is the greatest tank commander since General Patton. Like, he is... Everything he touches turns to loss. Everything. So it's an A+. It's an A+. I do not expect at this point in Russell Westbrook's career for any team he's on to be in the playoffs. And that's not necessarily because of Russell Westbrook. It's because Russell Westbrook's contract. You cannot build a competitive team when you're paying someone who's a net negative $45 million. You can't do it.
I'm just sad.
You should be. Any NBA fan should be, because, like we said, LeBron not in the playoffs. Like it's a real possibility. It's a pretty much foregone conclusion, barring a trade.
Ago in the chat that what would be the easiest game to rig. The NBA better hope it's the NBA, because that's what they're going to have to do to get LeBron in the playoffs.
I don't think they would. They would just need to make some trades. But Austin, go ahead and grade the Lakers' future.
The minus.
The minus.
There is no future.
Minus.
And the franchise.
There's Austin Reeves.
And the franchise. It's over. No, I hate everything about their future. I don't think they have one. I don't think once Braun and or AD are gone, I don't think the Lakers are good for the next 10 years.
So the thing is, though, they are the Lakers. They're always going to be a free agent destination. Yes, there was a few years after Kobe where they weren't, but they had a good young team. And there really wasn't a lot of free agent movement during that period. I think the Lakers, just on the nature of being the Lakers, will be able to field a competitive roster in a short amount of time after LeBron and AD move on, as long as they've got money. So, like, I'm Rob and Jeannie, if you are listening, when
I hope you're miserable after LeBron.
So, when Tyler Hero is past his prime, and he's done, like, he's been injured a few times, don't pay him $45 million. Like, don't. So
LeBron uses all of his resources to make sure no one else signs there.
So San Antonio. We're at the end of the list here. We've got 2 left.
I hope LeBron gets partial ownership of a team just so he can sign the people the Lakers are going after.
So I'm Spurs, we expected them to be bad.
I don't even care if they win, just out of spite.
He's still on the Lakers. Spurs. I expected them to be a bad team, and they are the second worst team. It's an A. No. It's an A. They've got a decent core. Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. They're losing. They're right where I expected them to be. It's an A.
Nope. No. I'm in the same direction. It's just a C, because mine's a C.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
They're a bad team to start. They're losing. I'm sure Pop is putting all his eggs in the Victor basket and hoping, they hatch. But
I think Pop's just hitting, like, he's riding out that retirement fund.
I'm giving them a B.
Really?
Yep.
You gonna explain the B, or just
Nah?
It's a B.
It's a B.
B.
Okay.
What do you want to say? They own their first round pick and they're in the Victor sweepstake. It's a B.
Okay. Well, Houston Rockets, it's an A+. They're right where I expect them to be, which is last in the league. They've got Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, and they're currently the odds-on favorites to get Victor Wembanyama. It is an A+.
That's a C for me. Like I said, these last ones are
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Your C is my A. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Austin, this is another one that's an obvious one for you.
It's an S.
Yeah, it's as long as Jalen Green and Jabari Smith don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Which they might. They've already into a few little spats, but that happens in the NBA. So yeah, that was fun. So if you've made it this far, I just want to highlight something here. This is a little behind the scenes for you. It is really late.
Kenny bust through a good team.
It is really late in the night right now. This is actually our third take of this. We had some technical difficulties for the first 2. We started recording 6 hours ago. We're just now finishing up. We had to completely shift everything up, change our recording software, which hopefully will improve the quality. Actually, we found a new way of doing it that we think is going to be a lot better.
Unlike the Lakers.
So Angelo was on the verge of tears after the last screw up. So, thank you.
For what?
Not you.
Oh.
Wow. I thought you were getting a compliment.
No. We don't compliment Angelo on this pod. We don't. We don't agree with Angelo, and we don't compliment Angelo. So, if you've made it this far and you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, whatever. Follow us on socials, No Reserve Radio, all of them. I'm going to go to bed now. So, thank you.